Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: using marijuana during pregnancy may heighten risk for baby. Peter Tarnoff, U.S. envoy who helped craft Argo escape in Iran, dies at 86. Swindon's investment challenge, former boom town seeks to halt decades of decline. Fineco Bank takes on Italy's women in workforce challenge. Uni academic cleared of sexual harassment allegations by colleague. Using marijuana during pregnancy may heighten risk for baby. CNN. Babies exposed to cannabis in the womb are twice as likely to be underweight and almost twice as likely to be premature, according to a study by the University of Toronto. The research analyzed 57 studies of nearly 13 million babies, of which more than 100,000 had been exposed to cannabis in utero. The study also found that cannabis-exposed babies were 2.5 times as likely to need neonatal intensive care as unexposed babies. Peter Tarnoff, U.S. envoy who helped craft Argo escape in Iran, dies at 86. Washington Post. Peter Tarnoff, the former U.S. diplomat who helped to craft the plan to smuggle 6 State Department employees out of Tehran during the Iran hostage crisis, died in San Francisco aged 86. Tarnoff enjoyed a long career in the U.S. State Department and served as Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs from 1993 to 1997. He was instrumental in shaping policies following the collapse of the Soviet Union during the Clinton administration. He also helped to create the so-called Canadian Caper in Tehran in 1979, where 6 American diplomats found shelter in the residences of the Canadian ambassador and a top aide after the U.S. embassy was stormed by an Iranian mob. As part of the plan to rescue the diplomats, Tarnoff acted as the State Department's liaison with the CIA and Canadian officials. His wife said that he died from complications of Parkinson's disease. Swindon's investment challenge, former boom town seeks to halt decades of decline. Financial Times. Swindon is experiencing a decline in overseas investment due to a shortage of land, planning issues, Brexit and budget cuts, according to an article in the Financial Times. Swindon, which was one of the fastest-growing towns in Europe during the 1970s and 1980s, has seen foreign investment fall by 38% in recent decades. The article notes that the decline began in the 1990s, with local academics identifying the lack of available land, particularly for manufacturing, as a key factor. The town was hit further 2 years ago when Japanese carmaker Honda closed its factory there, with 3,500 workers losing their jobs. The factory's potential use as a high-tech manufacturing hub has not been realized, with the site bought by logistics firm Panettone. The town is now looking to reverse the decline, with the council identifying potential sites for development. However, a lack of personnel and budget cuts mean that the council has limited resources to attract new business. Fineco Bank takes on Italy's women in workforce challenge. Financial Times. Italian online financial services company Fineco Bank is striving to create an inclusive workplace that supports work-life balance and gender equity. The company offers flexible working arrangements, including the ability to work remotely for up to 14 days per month. Fineco Bank's efforts to create an inclusive workplace are part of a broader challenge in Italy, which has the lowest female labor force participation rate in Europe. The government has launched a gender equality certification system to encourage businesses to integrate gender equity goals into their operations. Certified companies receive tax breaks and extra points in bidding for public contracts. Uni academic cleared of sexual harassment allegations by colleague. ABC. A professor responsible for COVID-19 modeling in South Australia has been cleared of sexual harassment allegations. The SA Civil and Administrative Tribunal dismissed a complaint brought by a fellow employee at the University of Adelaide, who accused the professor of unlawful sexual harassment alleged to have taken place in his hotel room. The tribunal found that the professor was not acting in the course of his employment at the time of the incident and that the university was not vicariously liable for his conduct. Why foreign degrees have lost their luster for Chinese graduates. Nikkei Asia. More than 1.2 million Chinese graduates studying overseas are expected to return home this year, according to recruitment site 51 Job. However, the job market for these graduates is particularly tough due to the record number of new domestic college graduates, soaring youth unemployment and companies scaling back hiring post-pandemic. Chinese graduates returning from overseas also face challenges finding employment in the countries where they studied, as many countries have tightened visa rules and stabilized their job markets. Additionally, the employment situation for Chinese students overseas is getting bleaker, with countries such as Singapore and the UK introducing more stringent visa requirements. In the US, some employers have explicitly stated that they will only hire locals and green card holders. Chinese students are also finding that foreign diplomas are losing their competitive edge in China, with employers citing a lack of internship experience and a mismatch of majors as reasons for not hiring them. How the dead are counted in Gaza. BBC. The accurate counting of casualties in the Gaza Strip has become increasingly challenging due to the chaos caused by the intensifying conflict. The Health Ministry in Gaza has reported that since the start of the current war, 11,240 people have been killed, including 4,630 children. However, these figures have been publicly doubted by Israel, and President Joe Biden has stated that he has no confidence in the statistics. The BBC has conducted an investigation into how the casualty figures are counted. The Health Ministry in Gaza claims that the figures are recorded by medical professionals before being passed on to them, but there are concerns that the figures may not include those who died at the scene of blasts whose bodies have not been found or were buried immediately. The Biden administration has said that the death toll is likely to be higher than is being reported. The Health Ministry in Gaza has published an extensive list of the names of those killed, which includes over 6,000 names with their ages, sex, and ID numbers. The UN and Human Rights Watch have both said that they have no reason to disbelieve the figures released by the Health Ministry. The BBC has also spoken to Air Wars, which is in the process of matching deaths it has investigated to names on the Health Ministry's list, and the UN, which has assessed death figures in Gaza during previous conflicts. Warts and all, international law is still better than no law. Bloomberg. The article discusses the controversy surrounding international law, particularly in relation to the conflict between Israel and Hamas. It argues that while Hamas has undoubtedly broken international law by committing war crimes and using civilians as human shields, there are accusations that Israel has also violated international law. The article highlights the ambiguity in international law, particularly when it comes to defining proportionality and collective punishment. It also questions the enforcement of international law, using the example of Russian President Vladimir Putin's actions in Ukraine, where he has committed atrocities but is unlikely to be arrested as Russia is not a party to the Rome Statute. The article suggests that international law is not considered law because it is difficult to enforce and lacks a world government with a monopoly on legitimate violence. However, international law is argued to be indispensable as it helps to maintain norms of humanity and restrain combatants during times of war. It concludes that although international law may be imperfect, it is necessary in order to prevent even worse suffering. School principal says remote learning Mondays will help senior students. ABC. Chevalier College, a Catholic school in New South Wales, has announced plans for senior students to study from home 1 day a week starting in 2024. The school will cut classroom time to 4 days a week for students in years 10 to 12 who complete a flipped learning microcredential to make them eligible for remote learning. Some parents have expressed concerns about the new education model, feeling that they were not adequately consulted and that remote learning may not benefit all students. The school defended its consultation process and said that legal advice was sought to ensure the policies reflected contemporary learning delivery. Garnett scores 20 in Louisiana's 107-56 victory over Louisiana College. Associated Press. Louisiana defeated Louisiana College with a score of 107-56. Thanks to Kentrell Garnett's 20 points. Garnett shot 7 for 12, including 6 for 11 from beyond the arc. Kobe Julian added 16 points and 5 assists, while Joe Charles had 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. John Quarius McGee led Louisiana College with 8 points. Biden says vermin rhetoric by Trump echoes Nazis. BBC. U.S. President Joe Biden has accused his predecessor Donald Trump of using rhetoric similar to that of Nazi Germany. This comes after Trump referred to his political opponents as vermin during a rally. Biden's accusation marks a shift in his approach to Trump, with the president now more explicitly arguing that Trump and his allies pose a threat to democracy. Historians and experts who have studied Nazi propaganda have supported Biden's comparison, stating that the language used by Trump is similar to that used by the Nazis. Trump's campaign has called Biden's accusation despicable. The Domestic Violence Support Center hiding in plain sight. The Sydney Morning Herald. Hope Hub, a multipurpose support center for people experiencing social issues, particularly domestic violence, has been established in the Westfield Carindale Shopping Centre in Brisbane, Australia. The centre, founded by the Beyond DV charity, offers a safe, secure space for individuals to seek referrals and information, attend group therapy sessions, and participate in recovery programs. The location in a public area not only provides visibility for the issue of domestic violence but also makes it easier for women to access the support they need without raising suspicion or drawing attention from perpetrators. Teacher convicted of child abuse was protected at expense of students, inquiry hears. The Sydney Morning Herald. A teacher convicted of child abuse in the 1980s remained employed by the Department of Education until 1992, ultimately using his position to work with homeless children, a board of inquiry has been told. Rourke, Bangura help Ohio defeat Central Michigan 34-20. Associated Press. Ohio defeated Central Michigan 34-20 in a college football game on Wednesday night. Curtis Rourke threw for 222 yards and C. Bangura rushed for 126 yards for Ohio. Ohio's Oshin Allison and Shane Bonner scored touchdowns in the second quarter to give Ohio a 17-0 lead. Central Michigan got on the board with a touchdown pass from Jace Bauer to Tyson Davis. Rourke and Bauer both scored rushing touchdowns in the second half, and Bauer threw another touchdown pass to Chris Parker. However, Ohio held on for the win. Ohio is now 8-3 this season and one game behind Miami in the East Division of the Mid-American Conference. Central Michigan looks to become bowl eligible in their next game against Toledo. And that's a wrap for today's news. We covered a range of topics, from the potential risks of using marijuana during pregnancy to the decline of foreign investment in Swindon. We also talked about efforts to create an inclusive workplace in Italy and the challenges facing Chinese graduates returning home. Plus, we took a look at the counting of casualties in Gaza, the controversy surrounding international law, and some updates in sports. Now let's dive a little deeper into these stories. The study on marijuana use during pregnancy is concerning, as it suggests that exposure to cannabis in the womb can have negative effects on babies, such as being underweight and premature. This emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential risks associated with marijuana use, especially during pregnancy. We also learned about the passing of Peter Tarnoff, a former U.S. diplomat who played a key role in the rescue of American diplomats during the Iran hostage crisis. His efforts and contributions to shaping U.S. foreign policy will not be forgotten. Moving on to Swindon, the town is facing challenges in attracting foreign investment due to various factors, including a shortage of land and the aftermath of Brexit. It's a reminder that economic growth and development can be complex and influenced by multiple factors. In Italy, Fineco Bank is taking steps to create an inclusive workplace that supports work-life balance and gender equity. This is a positive move towards promoting equal opportunities and addressing the low female labor force participation rate in the country. Next, we discussed the case of a professor who was cleared of sexual harassment allegations in South Australia. It's a reminder of the importance of thorough investigations and due process when dealing with such serious allegations. We also touched upon the challenges faced by Chinese graduates returning home, as they find themselves competing with a record number of domestic graduates in a tough job market. This highlights the need for adaptation and resilience in the face of changing circumstances. The counting of casualties in Gaza has become increasingly challenging due to the chaos caused by the ongoing conflict. Accurately counting and reporting casualties is crucial for understanding the human impact of war, and it's important for all parties involved to have access to accurate information. The article on international law raises important questions about its enforcement and effectiveness. While imperfect, international law plays a significant role in maintaining norms of humanity and providing a framework for resolving conflicts. It's a reminder that even in an imperfect world, having some form of law is better than having none at all. Finally, we covered some updates in sports, including college football games and basketball victories. These moments of competition and athleticism provide a welcome distraction from the challenges of the world. And that's all for today's news. I hope you found these stories both informative and entertaining. Remember, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on any of these topics. So, what are your thoughts? Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.